Peace, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. So, I have a question specifically for the music making community, and even more specifically for producers, songwriters, and beat makers. What is your beat making batting average? How many tracks does it take you to get to what you would call, heat, a banger, a keeper? Because for me, I'm in my rabbit hole right now where I'm just sort of making lots of tracks, not making lots of content, but just producing a lot and mixing and just sort of trying to create content, trying to create music. Um, and when I look at this, pile of, drafts that I've come up with, um, it's usually one out of every 7 or 8 is like what I would consider, a keeper. Um, and it's got me thinking like, man, I must not be very good because I'm making all this music, or my standards are just really high. I don't know what it is, but that's how many tracks it takes. I got to make 7 tracks on the MP to get one that I think is good. So if I'm making a 5 song EP, that's like 35 songs. I'm not, a math major, but I'm just curious, what's the process like for other folks? What are y'all out there doing? Is it that everything you make and everything you chop up will eventually turn into something? Because I think that's the ideal, where it's like everything you can turn into something, whether it's an interlude, an instrumental, maybe just a draft of an idea that can turn into something later. Um, but I'm finding myself in a position where I'm just throwing out tons of stuff. And I think, in a bigger, more existential issue, I think it's like if you don't have like a specific goal, and you're just sort of in the process for the therapy of it, the meditation of it, the process, just the art practice of it, then you don't have a fixed destination. And if you don't have a fixed destination, if you don't know where you're going, how do you know when you've arrived? And so that's a much bigger question. So when I'm working on a project with an MC or a vocalist, it's very, very definable. It's very like, okay, we're going to make 5 to 7 tracks that kind of sound like Portishead or sound like, Mary J. Blige or whoever. It's like there's like a definable sort of measurable goal. And when you're just making beats or instrumentals for yourself or for your studio practice, you're just going and going and going. And so, the question that I'm asking is almost inherently flawed because, yeah, maybe my batting average is really low, but according to who, and who's to say what's good or bad or what's useful? So it's funny, man. It's a simple question that turned into a much deeper kind of exploration of why people are doing this and what's working and what's not. Which is really interesting. But, this came up really because, I made, I made a beat tape, basically a draft, and there was 30 tracks on there. 3 of them to me were good. 3 of them I was like, yo, this is good. These are complete, well mixed. They feel good. The other 27, maybe something there, but really it has to get pulled out. It has to be worked on. And I sent this to my friend, and he's like, I can use this, I can use this, I can use this, I can use this. There was just so much more he was excited about. And it just made me realize that we all have different tastes. We all have different definitions of what useful is in music. And that perhaps I shouldn't be so hard on myself with this, that everything has to be perfect. It's like I have this unreachable ideal, which is kind of a healthy attitude for any artist, I think. Or is it destructive? That's another question. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing all this up is I'm really curious what other folks are doing and what your beat making batting average is. Am I the only one who's over here making hundreds of tracks just so I could pick 5 or 6 that are presentable to the world? Are my standards just too high? Do I need to take it easy? Do I need to relax? What can I do to improve my batting average? That'd be something I really want to do because I want to be more efficient. Outside of getting new flashy devices that promise efficiency when they're really not more efficient, I would like to kind of hone in on what I'm doing and work with a little bit more focus. And I wonder if it's just part of the process because I know artists like I think somebody was telling a story about Prince, and granted, I'm not Prince, but um, he made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs, complete bangers, like absolute, like, yo, this is a song. This could be a generational song or something. And he would just throw them in the vault. He's like, nah, it's not going on the album. He was just very particular and very like, I can make music all day. It's not that precious. Let's just make whatever he wants to make. So I think it might be the case that a lot of people have way more material than they ever present, and then that's a normal thing. But that's why I'm asking the question: what's your beat making batting average? Are you guys sitting on hordes of beats that are just trash or not good enough or need to be worked on, or just false starts and ideas that don't necessarily work? Um, or when you go make something, do you work on 10 tracks, 10 tracks get finished, and there's no extra residue or excess? Because I'm really curious, because, I'm over here sitting by myself like, how are other people doing it?